Oi, right, how's it going? I'm Grant, this is DoodleReview, out here working to give you non-stop daily music content. This week we got some new stuff from Kane, from Destiny Bond, and reviews from the archive for Rina, Sawayama, Ozzy Osbourne, yeahs, and Off. This week has been a predominantly good one because I got to see Santa Cruz hardcore band Rain play a wild show at the New Cross Inn. The band were just so good, had great energy, and just really reminded me how great that new album actually is. New Cross Inn in London is also just such a great scene for hardcore kids, well, mainly moustache sporting 30-year-olds to hang out, but you know, the pits are always lit as well, hands downs, cartwheels, roundhouses. Man, the shit is not for me, but God bless you for doing it. It makes me really happy to know there's still a place like that in the UK. Long may it continue. If you're into that stuff, see Drain, visit the New Crossing, get smashed in the pit. It's fucking great. Alright, let's get into some reviews. Kane, former member of the Rascals, one half of the last Shadow Puppets, and solo artist with the most divorced dad or cool uncle energy I have ever seen. Literally, the last time I saw him live, he unironically covered Disco Inferno or Hot Stuff, or one of the two. He's back with his fifth album, One Man Band. I have to be honest, I haven't checked on Kane's solo work since 2018's Coup de Grace. That song and that album, I really struggled with it. The disco influence, the lyrics, the songs, the title track in particular, it was just not great. It left such a sour taste. I kind of forgot the way back I actually really enjoyed Don't Forget Who You Are, and kind of forgot that he is responsible for 50% of the greatness of Last Shadow Puppets. And to be honest, I kind of wrote him off. I'm sorry, Miles. It was just that bad. And I've been criticised for often skewing quite positive in my reviews, and that's fair because ultimately I like to like music, and because I do this in my spare time, I mostly don't listen to stuff I know is not to my taste. However, I've recently decided to change that up to get some more variety on the channel, and I thought, well, you know, Kane has a new album out, and that's a sure way to inject a lower rating into the mix. But I have to say, I'm eating my words because One Man Band is really, really enjoyable. This album ditches any and all resemblance to the disco attempts of that fated previous record I mentioned, and sticks well within the genre lanes that Kane has a proven track record of delivering solid work, and it pays off. The album is a indie rock, mod rock, kind of chamber pop, hybrid, cherry picking parts from each of those styles to create a breezy, good time album. Trouble Sun kicks things off and is a definite festival crowd pleaser. It actually might be one of my favourites here, and that's followed in quick succession with The Best Is Yet to Come and the title track itself, One Man Band. There are still moments of that like cool uncle vibe that strays a bit too cringe for me. Like, lyrics aren't Kane's strong suit, and that doesn't always matter, but a song about Roberto Baggio for sure sounded better in theory than it does in practice, and we get a couple of other clunkers like The Wonder of You. This isn't revolutionary and doesn't completely overcome all of Kane's bad tendencies, but I think for every snob like me that turns my nose up, there are a ton of people that it absolutely charms. For me, this is a decent 6 out of 10, but it's a really fun album. Destiny Bond are a new band out of Denver playing old school hardcore punk, and Be My Vengeance will scratch the itch of anyone that loves first 4 years straight up raw aggression, rallying against bigotry and advocating for community and acceptance. There's a purity of the recording of this album that you only tend to get on a band's first, maybe second record tops, with live recordings, minimal overdubs and flexible tempos. A neat twist to this otherwise straightforward album are the interesting genre pulls in the guitar that occasionally flare up on the record from time to time. There's a slightly Eastern guitar lead on Headspin, while the Glow and Paper Cut provide just a touch of rockabilly. It's a cool debut and a band to definitely keep an eye on. Plenty enjoyable. I would give it about a 6 out of 10. Secret Machines returned from obscurity in 2020 with Awake in the Brain Chamber, a fourth album of all new killer songs. In 2023, the band are back with a follow-up of sorts. The Moth, the Lizard and the Secret Machines is actually an album they were talking about back in 2009 after the release of their third album, but it failed to materialise prior to the group's soon-to-be 10-plus year hiatus. Feeling revitalised after their return, frontman Brandon Curtis finally sat down to complete work on the unfinished sessions that would make up this album. I think it's worth noting before going into listen to this, even as a fan, that The Moth was always going to be an unconventional record, even without the 15-year gestation. Conceived at a time of much strife for the group, they wanted to take a much more free-form and abstract approach to composition as a way to kind of exercise their demons. As such, while this record retains all of the characteristics of Secret Machines, spacey atmospherics, massive drums and fuzzy bass, the actual songs are sparse. I think knowing this is helpful, as having no prior knowledge, I was a little disappointed, especially opening with There's No Starting Over, which could be mistaken for added vocals over the top of a band just sound checking or tuning up in a practice room. Not all songs are quite as abstract, and this jam-based approach does garner some great moments. Last One Out and Run Out the Silver Light in particular give off a post-rock, almost Godspeed You Black Emperor vibe, although the weird guitar phrasing in the back half of that latter track toward the end doesn't quite work for me. The answer is a driving, hypnotic, krautrock-esque piece, which leads into my favourite track, Crucifixion Time, a Frankenstein of a track, half classic Machine song with a fuzzed out spidery riff and half a meditation. Overall, while the album isn't wholly satisfying, typical of many records forged in this way, it includes some great moments. I find the fact the band were able to finish it really inspiring, and I'm glad they did, even if I think overall I would probably rank it at about 5 out of 10. I was completely thrown off centre by the combination of Britney Spears and Evanescence on Rina Sawayama's 2020 debut album, a fusion which makes just no sense on paper but works gloriously on record. And I definitely respect the need for an artist to evolve their sound, but can't say I wasn't disappointed that on this second album it doesn't treat us to further new metal candy floss pop genre mashups. Hold the Girl does include some genre bending, like the UK garage influence on the verses of the title track or the glam rock ABBA inspired This Hell. But overall, this time around, Sawayama leans way more into Disney power ballad style, which, while showcasing her incredible voice, just isn't really my thing. And it was a bit of a disappointment, I have to say. So I would give this one a 4 out of 10. Patient Number 9 marks the second full-length collaboration between Ozzy and producer wonderkind Andrew Watt, and while it doesn't quite reach the heights of 2020's Ordinary Man for me, it's a fun listen for any rock fan. As with any Ozzy record, there is a certain amount of cheese you just have to take on the chin, whether that's in the lyrics, ad-libs, or just the man himself, but it's the playing and production that make Patient Number 9 a compelling listen and rise above those parts. Key to success is the records like House Band, Guns N' Roses' Duff McKagan on bass, Red Hot Chili Peppers' Chad Smith on drums, and who are backing Watt, who is himself a really talented guitarist. The chemistry of that trio is palpable, and they make even the most garage band sample pack butt rock riffs absolutely slap. Add to this the superb mixing, which balances the bass, drums, guitar perfectly, and a constant conveyor belt of rock royalty on guest spots, whether it's Zakk Wylde, Tony Iommi, Josh Homme, Taylor Hawkins, among many others. On that basis alone, it's hard not to be won over, but sadly, it's the songwriting over the course of the 13 tracks that is slightly lacking. Beyond standouts like Parasite, Mr. Darkness, and Nothing Feels Right, everything kind of blurs together. When you finish the album, it's like the feeling you get when you go to see a band play, but you don't know their songs. They might sound amazing and you've had a good time, but you kind of come away not really remembering the specifics. So for me, I would say this is about a 5 out of 10. Yeah, came back last year after what felt like a long hiatus that, judging by previous effort, 2013's Mosquito was well needed. Straight out of the gate, the New Yorkers come out triumphant with Spitting Off the Edge of the World, a song fit for a finale, but almost itself an act of bold defiance on Cool It Down. It opens the record. The slow burn continues with Love Bomb, where the production recalls the icy tension of the band's 2009 record, It's Blitz, before jumping into the trademark death disco dance punk fusion of Wolf and Fleas. The former, I'm sure, borrows its main riff from a big club banger from the past, but I just can't place it. Despite the record mostly occupying an electronic landscape, there are still moments of organic instrumentation that shine. Guitarist Nick Zinner's feel is exceptional, particularly on a song like Different Today, where his tasteful playing provides background colour before jumping into the foreground with a solo that plays it more like radio station static than shredding. Cool It Down is short and sweet and exactly what was needed from the group to announce their return. It was worth the wait. I would give it a 7 out of 10. Off is a band built on a pedigree of classic hardcore by Keith Morris, who's the legendary frontman of Black Flag, Circle Jerks, and over the years has included members of Red Cross, Hot Snakes, Burning Brides, and you'll know us by the Trail of the Dead, and Thundercat. All mostly ditching their alt-rock styles to go full shithouse breakneck punk rock in the company of Morris's royal rantings. This time though, the band indulge in some sonic explorations, forcing moments of psychedelia, free jazz, stoner rock and metal into the tried and true confines of their 1 to 2 minute rages. This actually turns out to be a fantastic move because as much as I have a lot of affection for Morris's wailing, the lack of melody can see the meat and potatoes punk get a bit stale over the course of an entire record. The stylistic shift on Free LSD though, and specifically the variety of voicing employed by guitarist Dimitri Coates, make this dynamic album that holds your attention throughout while never not rocking. Lyrically, it's pretty out there as you'd imagine for a record with this title written by this frontman, but it all adds to the charm. Favourite tracks include Black Widow Group, Time Will Come and Circuitry's God. This is a great album. It's an 8 out of 10 for me. Right, I hope you enjoyed that. Check out my other content coming this week. Travis Scott, Utopia Special, Miles Kane's Best Tracks, Drum Part Dave Grohl's Stole, and many more. So keep them their eyes peeled and